This is Off the Break Podcast, presented by Silver Screen Insider.
Welcome to Off the Break Podcast. I'm Cody, and with me are Kyle and Eric.
What's up?
Hello.
Gosh, that was hard for me to get out this time.
Yeah, I don't know what you started laughing about.
Eric's like, we're good, thumbs up, and it just made me laugh. And I'm like,
We're
oh no,
rolling.
we're recording this.
I can edit things out.
You're gonna have to.
But I think you can.
There's a long, awkward
You
silence.
can and you will.
Do what I want.
Yeah, so we've got kind of a jam-packed podcast today. A little bit, a lot of reviews going on. We've got to talk about It Chapter 2 and farewell reactions. You were farewell on the thing, and I almost said it like that.
Oh, yeah.
And then I've got
Off to a good start, guys.
Yeah. We're really together this week. And then I got some
doing
trailers. Got Bad Boys, Jojo Rabbit. We got to talk about that.
Yeah.
Birds
Good
of
trailers.
Prey.
Which I saw.
The teaser.
The teaser, not the movie.
Yeah.
Saw it in the theater and may only see it in the theater.
What? Then
And we should also explain what Birds of Prey is, because
Yeah.
that's a very.
It's a movie coming out.
It's a movie coming out.
We
We'll
all-
explain more later
Yeah.
on that.
And then we got some news and some wrap up forecasting to do. So should we get started?
I think
want
we
to know
should.
all about it. You
I'm
were
not
supposed to
spoiling
see
it for Kyle.
Yeah, I was unable to,
Yeah.
but Eric came in clutch for this one, so I thank him.
I do what I
I will
can.
see it for next week's episode.
Nice.
Yes.
I won't be here for next week's
Yeah, no, I
episode.
can.
All right.
I'll say as much as I can without spoiling anything.
We want all the
thanks.
spoilers.
I mean, obviously, I know you do.
Yeah.
So obviously, I love the first one. I thought it was great. It doesn't feel like it was already 2 years ago, though. But
Yeah, it's crazy.
I still had the little collector's cardboard thing in my car from the first one. But the second one, it, not to beat around the bush, I would say it's not as good as the first one, at least not as well constructed, put together. And that's mainly just due to its length. And while I don't usually think length in and of itself is a bad thing, it comes down to how you structure it and how you pace it out. And there's a decent portion of the middle stretch in this where the Losers Club break up and go their own separate ways for a little bit. That kind of drags the movie down. But all of the important things like the casting, the performances, the chemistry of the grown-up losers, the sense of friendship that they have to rediscover, all of that I feel like is pitch perfect, especially the cast. Everybody was excited about the cast going into this thing. It's like, whoa, this is so perfect. But seeing pictures of them doesn't really do it justice. Seeing them interact with each other, cracking jokes, being scared together, going through all of those emotions that they went through as kids, now as 40-plus-year-old adults, it's really, really well done.
Well, I could tell they had really good chemistry when they walked on stage at CinemaCon, and they had all
I'm sure, yeah.
the children and then their adult counterparts, and it just worked. No one stood out. It was a oddly weird thing where it's that would be the person that
I mean, you
would
would
be
think,
them as adults.
Part of me wanted to, when the cast was first announced, kind of rank the popularity of the different adult actors,
right.
Because obviously Bill Hader's really popular among people, probably more than I can't remember the guy who plays Grown Up Eddie's name, than he is at this current time. But when you see them all on screen together, there's not a clear star. They're very much just the Losers Club, and that works really, really, really well. I don't know. There's not much I can say without really spoiling it.
We had a really in-depth conversation before the podcast this morning because we always like to talk about stuff before we podcast about it, and you totally gave spoilers away to Kyle.
One thing I didn't
There
think
was
was
one
a
thing that
spoiler,
he-
but
Yeah.
apparently Kyle
Didn't know.
wasn't familiar with this one very well
It's
known.
the least
part of
familiar
it.
thing of all the familiar things, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if
it's fine though. It's not
I
gonna
thought
ruin.
that you
It's
had
not gonna
seen the
ruin it too
miniseries
much.
too. I thought you had seen the miniseries.
I never got around to seeing the miniseries.
Oh.
No.
Well, I thought you did.
I mean, of course, I hear from friends or strangers or whatever who are like, "Did you know there's a giant turtle in the book?" Yes, I've heard about the there's those things, but what you were saying was
Yeah.
That's
So
so
I won't
Something
repeat that
unbeknownst to me.
here.
That's so funny because I read like online plot synopsis details so I could like know what happens because I'm never gonna see this movie. I don't do horror, and I had no idea about the giant turtle, but I totally knew about her husband becoming like the minion of the It thing and all this other stuff.
No, there's a lot of little things in the book that aren't in this one, and I can't imagine them being in there because this thing's already like 3 hours long. But all in all, I will say that it nails the ending. I feel like it's a very, very satisfying conclusion to the pretty epic story. And I ended up leaving the theater very, very uplifted.
I always like me a good ending. I just won't sit through horror to get it.
It's not that scary.
I take it Skarsgård is still good as Pennywise.
Oh, of
Because
course.
he just looks amazing in the trailer.
He takes on a lot more, well, maybe the same amount. He takes on a lot of different forms in this one, which is one of the things that I didn't love about the movie is just there's a pretty big reliance on like CG or monster designs for the different forms it takes. But, whatever. I just feel like there are parts of the movie where you can tell that it's like practical and those work so much better than the CG, and a lot of the CG just they look a little silly.
I think the same was kind of what happened in the first It.
Yeah.
If I recall. Like they still freaked me out, but I'm, the biggest scaredy cat of them all, so
I mean, maybe this movie will give you a few spooks.
I think it will. I think it even though you think that it's not as scary, I probably will still be.
Yeah.
I probably will still be freaking out.
Are you gonna go to like a matinee? Will that help? Or you're like, I'm gonna totally do this at night and walk to my car at like 1 in the morning.
I hope I do it at night.
You're not gonna be
it's part of the
scared
fun.
walking to your car afterwards because you're gonna be so uplifted because it's such a happy ending.
Oh.
Well, I hope that's right.
I could be lying.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I don't know.
But
But that gives me hope though, because I'm really excited for
it's a good time.
next movie.
It's a good time. And
Good.
if anything, I feel like most people just want to see the losers back together fighting fighting that clown again, and you will get that.
Yeah, that group was definitely the best part. So it's great that it's being replicated again.
Well, I think there's just so much interest for it. It did over 10 million in early show previews
like
last
10.5.
night.
Great
10.6,
start.
something.
I would
Yeah.
say that's a great start, right?
Oh my gosh,
I
that's
think
so
it's
good.
the second
Anything over a
highest
million is
opening for a
good.
horror film behind the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
No, I think it's going to be really big. It's going to be great this weekend. It will be a good way to kind of end what should have been a big summer weekend last weekend, but it'll be this one.
Mm-hmm.
I also probably liked it as much as I did because, as we've said on this podcast before, our theater's speakers were all just broken,
Yeah.
but they fixed them.
They apparently
So now I
fixed
have
them.
actual surround sound.
That gets me really
Yes.
excited now.
Oh, be excited!
Yeah.
You won't have to lean forward and cup your ears.
I just feel so bad for consumers that don't realize things like that. Like if something sounds off, it probably is off, and then
It sounded so
they,
off
they
for so long.
deserve they deserve surround sound. They deserve good sound. They deserve good seats. Consumers just deserve this for the experience.
One thing that I hate more than anything about this theater now, everything that's been wrong with this theater in the history, I hate this. I hate this so much. I don't know why they started doing
This is gonna be good.
It's so lazy. So like you get your tickets.
Yeah.
There's a nice perforated line where they tear the ticket in half. They keep
Yep.
one. They give you one. I don't know why, but the past 3 movies that I saw, their new thing is to just fold it in half and tear it halfway down. So now all my little ticket stubs just have a tear through like the middle. Well, they can't use the perforated line.
halfway. They tear it half. Oh, I thought you meant
From
they
the
only
top,
Yes.
I thought you meant
They
they
just
only
like bend the ticket in half and then just do a little like tear.
they got rid of your card stock.
First they
ticket.
get rid of that, and they go to this crappy receipt paper, and then they bring it back a little bit with slightly higher quality. I'm like, okay, at least they're still perforated, and they tear it in half, keep one, give you the other. That's how it's always been done. But no, there's still the perforated line, but what they do is just fold the ticket in half, and instead of tearing the perforated line, they rip.
Really,
Like
there's
obviously people aren't going to be able to see this, but they do
Right.
this,
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
just give it to
and
you.
then that's it. Wait,
Yes!
so what Eric did was that he folded like this piece of paper in half, and then he basically just
Ripped it from
ripped
the top.
it from the top down,
So, like,
but
it
only
it
like a
tears down
slight
through
tear.
the font. It tears through like what.
But they
movie
don't
you
even
saw.
keep anything. They just
No,
tear it
they
in
just
front of you.
rip it halfway and give it back to you.
Basically, what they did was that they knocked the drink out of your hand and then just stared at you.
Yeah.
asking why you ran into them.
Obviously, they're doing it for security so people can't take a ticket stub and be like, oh, I'm in the movie, and flash it and go in. But how many people are really
The next time I'm
going
to be like, hey, do you mind just ripping the perforated edge? I don't cheat the system here. I have 6 years worth of ticket stubs that I can show you if you want.
Yeah.
They're gonna be so baffled if you say that.
I'm just curious. There's an obvious perforated line there meant to tear it. I don't know why you use that.
Yeah.
Why are you ripping it through the main body and covering up the name of the movie that I saw? So I hate that.
That is I'm gonna be thinking about that when I go see it tonight.
Don't do it. You're like, don't rip my ticket. You just yell at them.
Just shake them.
Yeah.
You monster.
You knock it out of their hand.
Why'd you run into me, man?
Yeah.
It irked me. It irked me.
Goodell.
Wow, yeah, at first I was going to be like, okay, Eric, what'd they do with your ticket? But that actually is very strange.
Well, I like my ticket stubs, and now I don't want to hold on to these things.
It's just a silly security measure to make sure you're not using the same stub to go back into the film, but no one's doing that.
Barely anyone, no offense, Eric, keeps the tickets.
Because I think in this day and age, people just don't have time to go back into all these movies.
Yeah.
You obviously had to buy a ticket, so you spent money on the first one, and then try to go back and get a second showing because I guess if you're digging ticket stubs out of the trash can, you're like, look, I haven't paid for this one.
Why don't you just
But they can if they looked at the stuff, they could see the show time was obviously either not correct or the date.
Yeah. If they looked closely, which who knows.
I'd have to have a talk with the manager.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I've been coming to this theater for many years now.
You're just going to get your tickets and laminate them right away.
The last time I talked to one of their managers, they just baffled me with their weird Toy Story Showtime thing.
Yeah, I remember that.
God, that was the weird... I don't know.
They're
like, there's
always that certain time of year where
it's a special thing. No, it's still, I don't know.
There's always that time of year where like they clean the slate and you just get all new people in, and they don't really know what's going on.
Well, that happens.
Could be, yeah.
I think here because we're a college town, and
that's absolutely why.
Yeah, they get new kids in and
rotate them in, and yeah.
Yeah, the one guy who was doing the ticket tearing, this is how I found out this was the system. He was obviously like probably his first or second day, and he's like really trying to do a good job. Almost like scared, like the managers are probably looking at me
tear
every
it just
second.
Right, Jimmy.
And so like he handed me my ticket back, and I was like, oh, I guess they aren't tearing down the line. Okay. And then like he like kind of ran after me as I took like 10 steps kind of by the concession stand. He's like, oh, wait, here, 1 second. I'm like, what? And he's like, here, I just need to do this. And then he tore it in front of me. And I was like,
that's even better.
What? I'm like, what did you just do?
It literally is him running up, knocking your drink out of your hand. It's exactly that.
What do you think you're doing there? It's like, is this how it's done?
Don't touch my ticket.
I felt bad for him because he obviously was like, oh no, I didn't tear his ticket. I'm gonna get fired.
Yeah, totally.
So,
poor guy, but Eric's like, oh great, and then he just runs up.
It's like torture.
Makes
He
my blood
tortured
boil.
you.
Oh my gosh, that is hilarious.
And you're too polite and nice to say anything.
Oh, of course.
So you're like,
He's just a little grunt
and
who just got
inside you're
hired.
just screaming at him.
Just like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Is this really the best system? You don't have to follow every corporate rule by the book, like the fine print.
You wait a few months and then he'll see. I get it.
Eric advocating
but that's
rebellion.
just so funny. He ran after you. He ran after you and knocked your drink out of your hand.
Oh wait, I didn't do my job. There's one thing I need to do.
I hope it's the kid. I hope that's the
ticket
kid
stub.
that rips my ticket, because I'm gonna laugh. I will probably like start chuckling in front of him if I think it is the same guy.
Just be like, just so you know, there's somebody out there who hates your guts. You're never going to know who it is.
You've made an enemy today.
Just watch your back, kid.
No, it's not him.
No, it's not. That's just really funny, though.
Did they do that with the farewell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one that they did it with. They did it with the farewell, and then they did it with the Midsummer Director's Cut the next day. And then when I went and saw it last night, they did it again. I'm like, this is the new system, I guess. I hate this.
Well, how was the farewell?
Should we
After that traumatizing experience, were you able to enjoy the movie?
Should we describe what this movie is first?
Yeah, the farewell.
It's pretty unknown, I would say.
Yeah, it's a little under the radar. It's an A24 movie. It came out, like I think last month, but it only just now came to this theater.
Yeah, it's been growing wider and
Yeah,
wider.
very
It's written and
limited.
directed by this Chinese American named Lulu Wang, and it's based on, I think, on her own family. But essentially, it's the story of this grandma in a large family. She still lives in China, and she's been diagnosed with advanced lung cancer. It's like stage 4 or something, and she's terminal, basically. There's nothing that the doctors can do. And the main character, Billy, played by Awkwafina, she came to America with her parents when she was really young, and she's been living in New York City, just kind of, getting by. And they find out the news, and they all decide to go back to China to be with the grandma. And they use the wedding of another family member as like a cover for everybody to be there with her. But the main twist is that in China and a lot of Eastern cultures, it's the majority of families opt to not tell the person who's sick that they're dying. So they do everything they can to kind of keep the news hidden from her. They like Photoshop the test results to replace what it actually says, so then they can give it like, see look, Nina, you're okay. And so that's kind of the premise of the movie. But the movie itself is it might be my favorite movie of the year. Maybe it's where I was when I saw it.
Traumatized?
No, because the movie, it's obviously incredibly sad because the dramatic irony, all the family members are like, this may be the last time I'm talking to my grandma or talking to Nai, but they can't let her know. And so there's this constant, like, it's funny. It doesn't sound like it would be, but there's this constant, irony of them lying to her, but it's a good lie. And
the main character doesn't sit well with her because she obviously grew up in America where we're pretty honest. We wouldn't shield something like that.
There's a funny bit at the beginning where none of the family members want her to be there. They're like, no, we all decided that it's best if you don't come. And she's like, what? And she's like, you can't hide your emotions. You're very, you're not good at that.
Yeah.
But then she obviously goes anyways. Mm-hmm. It's an incredibly sweet, beautiful story that just tackles a lot of things about, it makes you think about how much time you really spend with your grandparents, or as you get older, how much time you really spend with your parents, and kind of what their lives are like once you're gone, the things that they go through, what it's like for your parents to grow old without their kids around. It's a lot of really melancholy things, but the movie handles it all in just very humorous, loving ways, and every scene just has like a standout moment that you remember, and also has an incredibly happy ending too. So it's another very uplifting movie. It's just a little bit more difficult along the way, but in a good way.
I've been wanting to see this movie so bad. I still haven't gotten to it yet. I'm going to try to, because I've been looking forward to this one like all summer. Well, that's just
was it only here on the weekend?
It was here, I think so. Yeah, it only was here for Labor Day weekend, and it played like at noon and like 3 p.m.
Yeah, it was like 2 show times that never worked.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So I saw it on Labor Day.
Bummer.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
Hopefully see it somehow.
Hopefully, but it might be getting close to like it's a VOD release date or something.
Hope so.
But yeah, that movie is very, very good.
I literally only hear the exact same things that you're saying, is that it's just fantastic, and
it's
the story is
one of my favorite parts about it is like,
and
obviously Awkwafina is like the main character.
Yeah.
And I guess Nai, her grandma, is like kind of the second lead character.
Right.
But all of the family members, because there's a lot of them, they're all together kind of the main character. Because like almost every scene has the family sitting around a dinner table, or going out doing errands, just spending time together, and you just see how each different member kind of is handling the news and how they try and save face. And there's just so many little moments that you're just like, oh, that's so sweet.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, it's very good.
It's hard to do to have a large cast of characters be like almost the main characters in their own right. So that'll be interesting to see how that's pulled off.
Yeah.
Is it subtitled?
I mean, parts of it.
Yeah.
But Billy's obviously, she's American, so there's a lot of English, but
That's good.
But a lot of it's in, I think Mandarin. I'm not sure, but Chinese.
Nice. Well, I definitely like me Aquafina, so I really wanted to see this movie.
This was the first movie I've really seen her in. Like,
because you never watched Crazy Rich Asians.
no, I haven't seen it.
Well, that's interesting though, because that's probably like her first dramatic performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And has been known only for like comedies so far. So that's gonna be a strange angle to see if you like see her in a comedy next and see how.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
I thought she was fantastic. Everybody in it was fantastic.
like the trailer alone, I was like, oh, this is Aquafina doing something else. All right, I might like this. So
yeah,
that gives me.
This is all I know from
gives me
her, and
hope.
I love it.
Yeah, that's a great way to start. That's awesome.
Crazy Rich Asians was a great way to start. You will love her in that.
I bet. No, I mean, I remember her from the trailer. She has like the short blonde haircut, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was good in it. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Your traumatic experience included Farewell, It, and Midsommar director's cut. How did
was
the
a great
director's
time.
cut change anything on Midsommar for
I mean,
you?
for me, I had seen Midsommar 3 times in 1 week already, so it's like it was very, very ingrained in my mind. So I feel like I picked up on every new thing.
Uh-huh.
And obviously, I wouldn't have gone and seen it 3 times if I didn't already love it.
Right.
So to me, it was just more of what I loved. I wouldn't say that there's enough there to make this the version of Midsommar. I feel like you can't go wrong with whichever one you see. I would probably recommend people just see the theatrical one if they haven't seen it before, just because, I mean, the director's cut is like 3 hours long, and
Right.
there's only so much you can handle of this if you haven't seen something like it before.
Yeah.
But no, I think it fleshes out the characters even more. It ties together little subplots that they weren't left hanging, but you had to kind of think about what connected them, so maybe it's a little bit more clear in the director's cut. And the new scenes were all good. You get more sarcastic, kind of jerkish Will Poulter's Mark character.
Wonderful.
You get a lot more of just her just awful boyfriend, spineless coward boyfriend.
From Jack Reiner,
Yeah.
whatever his last name is.
You get a little bit more of everything, really.
Nice.
Only
If you like
very
that stuff.
Yeah, only a very small amount of it is not good, like not for the better.
You had an article about it that details it out pretty well on our site, silverscreeninsider.com, so that would be a good read if people want to get a little bit more of what you're saying anyway.
Thanks for the plug.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
As I understand it, though, Codi was watching her own movie
I was.
this past couple
So-
days.
I
let's hear it.
Well, recently the Bad Boys for Life trailer came out.
Yeah, day
And
or two
it's-
ago, something
yeah,
like that.
and it looks awesome. Who doesn't love Will Smith and
Martin Lawrence.
Martin Lawrence?
Who
together?
doesn't love what's his name?
Yeah, I just blanked.
Yeah, you
It's
did.
just it's Friday, guys. And sometimes
I just
at the
saw
end of the
you
week I'm
start to zone
tired.
out. You're like, oh no.
He caught me. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
No, so my husband really likes Bad Boys. He's so excited for this. So I'm like, well, I've never seen him. And he thought that was blasphemous. So we are watching them now. And last night we watched the first Bad Boys. I didn't get to see the ending, I will say, because children and lives. But I have
put them in the room.
It's like 1995, Will Smith. It's awesome. It takes me back to 90s movies. I mean, there's no CGI backdrop, so it's like smoke and lighting, and you know that
Very practical.
they're not really on a
Yeah.
roof, but it's okay. You just forget about that.
Just go with it.
It's that sweaty people, great one-liners. I love it. The captain is yelling at everybody. It's so good and so funny.
So
and,
pulpy.
oh my gosh, yeah, it totally 90s. Takes you back to that, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far.
As much as we rag on like franchises trying to make a comeback or trying to make that fourth movie that never,
Yeah,
it is cool to see that they do like gain like new audiences to check out like the older stuff, like what came
Will
before.
that happen with this though?
I mean, it started with Cody. I'm not saying
Yeah.
it does like a very good job at it. I'm just saying like at least it's cool that it's
Well,
able to do
I'm
that. to some
definitely
people.
gonna watch the second Bad Boys now, and I feel like I will be fully prepared for this third one.
Well, I mean,
Well,
the
yeah,
third one,
true.
I think it's been in development hell for a little while now.
Oh, a
like,
good
it's
while.
been getting
Yeah.
changed. Talents coming and leaving.
I mean, they only
Push back.
They finally started production earlier this year. I remember
I honestly thought it was going to
wrote
end up
about
being
it.
like a streaming title or like straight to DVD, VOD type
Oh
thing.
no, there's too many
Oh, yeah.
explosions.
Oh
This
yeah,
is
no. When I saw the
definitely
trailer,
a
I'm like,
movie
oh,
theater
okay.
film. No, so the first one was good. We had some comments on our Facebook page about like, why are they making another
There's some
one?
haters
Who
out
cares?
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there were
we-
some haters. I don't know where that's coming from,
Yeah,
people.
we
This is
posted
really
the-
good.
We posted the trailer.
I haven't seen it, so I
being
can't
like,
say.
"Who's excited for Bad Boys?" And everyone was like, "No." And we're like,
Who cares?
"Sorry." Apparently, no one likes Bad Boys anymore. I
Well, that's
thought-
what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
is this third one? Is there like a big market for it? It's coming out in January.
I feel
and
like
you
I mean,
know
that's
how,
not a very good sign.
Yeah, you know how
After
January
having
movies
the
are.
first one, I feel like people have forgotten how good these are and how like they need it.
Maybe
in their
Will
life.
Smith will be enough.
They've just forgotten. It's
I
been
mean,
like what?
I could say the same
Maybe.
thing about Men in Black, and look how that turned out. People
Yeah,
forgot
I mean,
about
that
the
was
first
Will
Men in
Smith, too.
Black, and that was Will Smith too. True.
My gut's
I
telling
don't
me
But
Bad
that
Boys
wasn't
3 is
Will
going to
Smith
come out
coming
to
back.
terrible reviews.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
It's going to come out to terrible reviews. It's
Oof.
not going to make a lot of money, and it's going to fade away. And it's going to be one of those January movies you forget about.
But hey,
Yeah.
they
So-
finally convinced Martin Lawrence. He finally came back, baby.
But I hope it's good.
Yeah.
I do hope it's good.
I
too.
always
Do you
hope
guys
all movies are good. But
realize that the first one has Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, but has like Tia Leone in it, and I just saw her and I was like, oh yeah, I miss the 90s. Just miss it.
yes.
I do. That's the nostalgia I like. I don't like the force fed like nostalgia. Like remember back when Goonies was so popular.
Yeah.
No, I like it was the little things that I enjoyed about the movie. Not only like the non CGI backdrops, but like the bullet sounds. I know I keep saying this,
Old
but
movie
it's
gun
a
sounds are
pretty
certain
great.
sound, and
Sure,
I'm like,
sure.
oh, it's the sound that's been there since like the '60s.
Yeah.
The same.
ain't
pew,
broke.
pew.
What's the saying? I don't know what to say.
Not
Don't
this-
fix it.
Don't fix it.
If
Yes.
it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I was gonna say if it don't broke, don't break it.
That works.
I like that. I like that. I'm gonna say that now. That's awesome. But yeah, the new Bad Boys trailer, it looks really cool.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I hope it is really cool and
I'm
it's
gonna
not
have
a flop.
I'm gonna have to do a write up. What my thoughts are on the first Bad Boys. So far, so good. What my
Sure.
thoughts are on the second Bad Boys.
Like a live update, like
Yeah.
27 minutes in. Oh my gosh, I loved when this guy
Yeah.
came through the roof.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could totally see that.
They're cutting heroin with ether, whatever that is, and highly
Sounds
flammable.
dangerous.
There's scientists. There's the bad guy's name was Fouché. So French.
That is fantastic.
Fouché.
It is a fantastic name for a villain.
But he will just kill you without any remorse. In Miami. Of
like
course,
a good
there's
time.
drugs.
I'm curious to hear
Lot of
your thoughts
neon.
on Bad Boys 2 because it's like either Bad Boys is the best or Bad Boys 2 is like there's no. It's always half
Bad
and
Boys
half.
2
split.
is just
Ooh.
like Bad Boys 1 cranked up to 11.
Yeah,
Ooh.
but
I'm gonna
I
probably
hear
like
like
it.
Bad Boys 2 is the best, and then like there's like another half where it's like no, it's
think
Bad
in Hot
Boys 1.
Fuzz,
Like there's no
the-
real like winner.
I think the in joke in Hot Fuzz is about Bad Boys 2. I think.
Yeah.
In Hot Fuzz, I'm trying to. Oh,
Because like Nick Frost is obsessed with like
Frost is-
rolling on your back and shooting up into the air
Yeah.
Yeah,
blindly.
he's a fan of those action
But
movies.
that wasn't
yeah,
from
that's
Bad
right.
Boys. That was from
That's from Bad Boys 2.
the rolling on your back, shooting up in the air.
Yeah, I think. Oh
No,
no,
that's
that's Keanu Reeves
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah. and
Um,
what was that with Patrick Swayze? That movie.
Point Break?
Yeah. Where he's
Oh,
gonna
I
shoot
think
Patrick
that's-
Swayze, but he
Yeah.
can't 'cause he's his buddy, so he shoots up in the air.
Yeah,
like,
that's
"Oh,"
right.
Click, click, click.
That's right. That is Point Break.
I've never
Do
seen
they
Point Break, but
do
I
they
think
reference
that's the
Bad Boys
reference.
in.
They do.
Okay.
I'm sure they
I'm
do.
going
Yeah,
crazy.
it's-
Going crazy.
He was a
over
fan
it.
of the '90s action
That's
movies. So
also another movie that I really like and I want to see again. Hot
Hot
Fuzz.
Fuzz?
I've watched that so
Hot
many
Fuzz
times.
is an amazing movie.
yeah. It's really good. Yeah.
So
masterpiece.
good.
Okay.
Anyway, so
Okay, so
Bad Boys makes us
yeah.
love Hot Fuzz. So there you go. That's
So
what
I'm
the trailer
excited.
did.
I'm excited to see like older versions of these characters, still with all the action and
Mm-hmm.
the funny one-liners. Seems like the heart and soul is still in the franchise, so
Maybe.
I can't wait to check it out. January cannot come fast enough. I kind of do this though.
Yeah, you do.
I get obsessed with these like weird movies.
Yeah, it's
I
like
never hear that about
2 days
movies in
ago. This
January.
never would have happened, and then all of a sudden yesterday, you're like diehard Bad Boys fan.
I know, it's my obsession.
You're converted very fast.
Oh, I love
good.
And
it.
a Bad Boys of all things. Like I know, obviously, people love it. I feel like people love it kind of ironically, because like neither of the two were like. I mean, the second one was pretty.
I like how they
panned
bicker
across
like
the
a
board.
married couple in it. I'm like, yeah, this is like the best buddy cup
It's
drama.
pretty much anybody cop movie
I know,
ever
but
made.
they yell at each
ever.
other
If you
and then
don't
they
act
point
like an
guns
old
at
married
each
couple,
other
you're not
and then
doing
they
it
point
right.
guns at other people. It's just I like it. There's a lot of yelling, but in a funny way.
Yeah.
Funny
Funny
yelling
Very
is funny.
passionate.
I still can't get over. I can't wait for a January movie.
I feel like I did this with Shaft too, because I went and watched the other Shafts.
Oh God, you.
in preparation for
That's
the
right.
new Shaft movie. And what was another one I did that? I went and did that with Stars Born. I watched all of the Stars
Yeah.
Borns.
But that
all
was
of
smart.
them.
That was a smart play, though.
It was. That was good.
Yeah.
I
You're just
feel like I
there's
appreciated
this cultural
it more.
moment coming up. I gotta get caught up so I can participate.
I know.
But Bad Boys, it's not gonna be.
It's not going to be the. It's going to be like Shaft, where it wasn't the cultural moment I thought it
Oof.
was.
It's gonna be exactly like that.
I still enjoyed the Shaft movies though.
Oh, as you can. There's nothing bad about that.
Did you see the new one?
I haven't seen the
Can't
new
remember.
one yet though.
So you did
Yeah,
all that
you kind of
research.
jumped ship like right afterwards.
I thought
It
you
was-
did for some
no, it
reason.
was
That's
just-
funny.
You didn't even watch the original one. You just watched the 2000 one, right?
The 99
I watched
one,
parts of the
whatever.
original one. That one's hard though. That's like
Yeah, that's like the acclaimed one. The 2000 one
Yeah.
people were not that hot about.
Yeah.
no. Yeah, I want to see the third one, but life got in the way. I've had a very busy summer, guys.
I'm so excited. I love the Shaft movies.
Yeah.
Like 2 days later, it's like,
I'm gonna
Oh,
watch.
yeah,
I'm gonna
well,
watch
whatever.
Third Shaft and love it. I just know it. I feel like that's a good investment on my part.
okay.
That was a good laugh.
I admire your optimism.
There's another trailer that we're also wanting to discuss about. Do we want to dive into that?
Yeah,
There are a couple. Which one are we talking? Are we talking about?
Jojo Rabbit?
Yeah, the kind of confusion over the tone maybe of the trailer.
Yeah,
or
which
the-
I
it
mean,
is.
honestly, I wasn't confused at all when I first saw it, but we're all pretty familiar with Taika Waititi here in the
Yeah.
office. We know kind of his humor, and he's half Jewish, obviously. Like nobody, he's not glorifying Nazis. I don't understand how, but some people out there think that that's maybe kind of what's happening here.
think-
There's definitely going to be
Yeah.
not a large population, but there's definitely going to be that group of people who are going to the movie. They're like, "Hey, we heard this was good. Let's check it out," but they're unaware of like what this movie is. And
Well,
I
let's
have,
give
I have
a
the
quick-
feeling that theaters could be like hating on for it or like.
Give a quick summary of what it is about. That's confusing people.
So it takes place in Nazi Germany in the 30s, 40s, and
World War II time.
Yeah, World War II time. It follows a 10-year-old boy who is probably like part of a Hitler youth
Yeah.
group.
At
which
least
is like,
he's raised to glorify and
Right.
love Hitler.
and in just the Nazi party, the Hitler youth groups were like Boy Scouts for the Nazi party, and so there's a lot of other little boys. They're just trying to learn survival skills and Nazi propaganda stuff. And the synopsis, which Kyle has kindly given me, is that it follows. It's a World War II satire that follows a lonely German boy whose worldview is turned upside down when he discovers his single mother, who's played by Scarlett Johansson, is hiding a young girl in her attic, obviously a young Jewish girl, aided only by his idiotic imaginary friend Adolf Hitler. Jojo must confront his naive patriotism. So yeah, he has an imaginary friend, and it's Hitler, played by Taika Waititi.
This new trailer that came out, I think, really helps that synopsis explain itself better than maybe like the first trailer did, if you happen to see it. Because it's made clear like this is a satire. Like the point is not to like let's glorify the Nazi regime or
Yeah, the
say that
tagline is
like
literally
what they did was funny. Like the point is that it's a satire on someone who is
Right.
raised in the thought process of the Nazi regime, only to realize that maybe what he's doing is the wrong way to do
I
it.
think a couple things about this. Obviously, the Hitler character is this boy's manifestation of those beliefs. And as he meets the girl, he comes in conflict with his imaginary friend character. So it's
played by Taika. Taika's Hitler.
So if you watch the trailer, you see that as the trailer goes, they start to fight. So he starts to like abandon his imaginary friend, which is just another metaphor for abandoning those past beliefs and getting over that stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that in of itself is a great
it's a great
part of the story.
And Taika's kind of absurdist humor just takes it to the extreme where he really kind of just isn't afraid to paint Nazis and Hitler and just that whole belief system in just the most embarrassing light.
Yeah,
because,
absurd ways.
You know, strip away all of the ugly things that we're seeing manifest in today's climate. Like, it's a ridiculous thing to believe or to follow. And so Taika is like, why can't we just, like take the piss out of it, as Rex would say.
And I like how at this point in this day and age where politically there's been this resurgence of neo-Nazism and white supremacy into politics from the fringe to the mainstream because of social media. I think it's a perfect time for comedians to take that and shed light on it and make it a joke. Because we got to remember, these beliefs are not mainstream, they're not right. We should be making the light of these and making them into a joke. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I think though that people feel uncomfortable just even one, discussing them, and two, laughing about them. Yeah,
for sure. And that's the worry that I get, is that when they feel uncomfortable about that, they're going to take it out on the theaters, the theater owners, maybe the studio itself. I don't know, which I thought this would be a good time for us to just be like, since this trailer is out, be like, hey, like, pay attention to the trailer. Like the subject matter aside, see what the trailer is trying to say. Because I do think it says what it's trying to do very clearly.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that it's its tagline is literally an anti-hate satire.
Satire
but
keyword.
But the thing about like today's, climate is some things are just so ridiculous that the line between satire and reality is like almost completely gone.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why maybe people are just having a harder time.
Like when Onion articles start feeling like real headlines and you don't know if that's not real or not.
Yeah, really though.
That's what I'm saying. Like the line between satire and reality is so far gone that maybe some people are just like not used to the idea of satire because everything kind of seems like that anyways.
Scary to think of.
So,
but you're onto something.
I have total faith that Taika is gonna, once you sit down and see the movie, be like, okay. I
also think it's from Fox Searchlight. It's going to go limited. This is not a mainstream big commercial movie.
It might try and push out wide, but it just depends on how Fox Searchlight or even Disney feels, because that's all under Disney now. But any controversy's
got to be good. A little bit gets us talking about it, about the movie. So that's always positive. Because
totally.
Bad publicity is still publicity.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, and I mean, obviously, they're probably hoping maybe for some sort of awards recognition with this.
Yeah.
Maybe like screenplay, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
It's just another kind of confusing attribute of it all is that, yes, it is Fox Searchlight, but that is now a Disney company. And so you still have Disney marketing behind it.
Like, hey, did you know Disney has a movie about Hitler that's a comedy?
And I think even though it really isn't Disney, it is Fox Searchlight's movie, the blurring of what parent company owns what is becoming so constrained. And
the reputation in the public is
that it's
Disney is making a Hitler movie.
It can very easily be that. So I think there's some trepidation with this film and the marketing moving forward that, to not equate it's not going to be a Disney film. And I don't know why anybody would ever think that or assume that because Disney got a hold of it, they're going to tone it down. It doesn't appear to be the case.
I mean, the worry is understandable, but I don't think they're going to tone it down. I mean, there was reports a few weeks ago where they were like, one Disney rep says he's afraid of how Disney's going to look after seeing Jojo Rabbit, and it's like it's under another banner. You're not gonna see the Disney logo appear. Like you'll, then it shows the Nazis marching over. That's not
over Cinderella's castle.
Like they do,
or Beauty and the Beast castle. Is it Beauty and the Beast castle now?
I thought it was Cinderella's.
I think it's still Cinderella's castle.
It should be Cinderella's.
I don't know.
I thought it was Beauty, or maybe they changed it to Beauty and the Beast castle for just that movie. Whatever it is.
Oh, they do change the look depending on the movie sometimes. So maybe that's it. I don't know. Anyway, Jojo Rabbit, Nazis.
I thought the trailer was
Let's
hilarious.
have a laugh, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be
I
great.
like how the
It does
kids
look
keep blowing
hilarious.
stuff up.
And any trailer that uses David Bowie is a good trailer in my book. So
Yeah. I only felt like one little bit of like uneasiness with it, and that was the idea that his mom is a single mom and she's hiding this Jewish girl, and part of me had this dread that something was going to happen to her.
She's gonna be found out.
And yeah, and I was more worried about that than the Hitler
That is gonna be
imaginary
interesting
friend.
is to see like how, because
That makes
obviously,
sense, though.
obviously
Yeah.
the whole movie can't be funny.
No, it's
Like,
gonna have a
serious,
bad part.
It's very serious subject matter, and Taika's a smart guy. He's gonna know that, some serious things you need to deal with honestly, and so it is gonna be interesting to see how he handles the inevitable darker material.
For
Right.
sure.
So
But
Yeah,
I
I can't wait for it.
couldn't see the humor. I was just so worried about the mom. I was like, no, what is she doing?
Mhm.
Obviously this is her only child, and the little boys need their mommies. Oh my gosh, it got me. So terrible. I'm sure that's not his point. Like, I'm sure he wanted me to
Tyga's
laugh,
just like,
but
oh my god.
yeah, I'm sure if he was in the room, he'd be like, calm down. I'm like, no, I feel yucky inside.
well, we'll just have to see it and find out.
Yeah.
Or you guys can see it and tell me what happens, and then I'll
Oh
watch
my
it.
God.
I feel like
So,
that's
Talk
what we
about the
should
next
do.
trailer.
Do we have another trailer?
Oh wait, we had the Birds of Prey thing.
So
Oh yeah, we should discuss that.
So when
You're right.
Eric went and saw It Chapter 2, there was a teaser for the Birds of Prey film, which is the Harley Quinn. It's not her movie, but she's a part of
She's
it.
like kind of the main face
Yeah.
of it.
But
Technically, it's called Birds of Prey and the
And-
Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
I think that's the full title.
Yeah, I think you actually nailed it. I'll go look for it.
Fantabulous is the thing I'm not totally confident on.
I think
I'll
that's
go look it
correct.
up
It's
real
something
quick.
weird.
Yeah. But
Anyways, Warner's is taking a kind of a different approach to the marketing to this film to try to create buzz, but they have a teaser trailer for it that is only viewable in the theaters. It's not
they
kind of
did this
online.
with Tenet, the Christopher Nolan movie,
Mhm.
which I also saw before It Chapter 2.
Awesome. Because I love that teaser too.
But I mean, the teaser itself, the Birds of Prey teaser, it's a teaser. It shows you lots of footage, very
But at least it
quickly
showed
edited.
you footage, because they
Yeah.
did have a teaser, I think when we were at CinemaCon, that maybe has now been online, where it's them playing music and you just see them like their costumes and they're
it's not really
twirling around.
it's not really footage
and
from the movie. It's more of
Right.
like this is what they're gonna look like.
this is
sizzle
more of
reel
like
type.
a screen test to see if the
See,
costumes
it's
and all
cool
that.
to now know that it has been shot. There's footage
Yeah.
that you can see, but the more interesting takeaway is kind of what Kyle brought up, is this approach of having marketing material only viewable in the actual theaters themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just made the point yesterday when I saw like rumblings that this teaser was possibly going to be only in theaters. That could be kind of a good thing. I mean, we're just so used nowadays to having the internet be the thing we rely on to see so many trailers that always come out like every 2 months or so. When instead, it's just nice to have a tease that's a little bit unknown, only in the theater, so it's like a surprise for you instead of being like, "Oh, I've seen this already." And
Well,
I like it. I like that we're going back to that. I don't know if it's going to happen for a lot of studios, but I like this method. That
If it
Warner's
did,
is
I'd be a
trying.
fan because, like I've been saying with seeing movies on streaming and stuff, it's when you're in the theater and 100% of your attention is on the screen, a good trailer can really make an impression on you. Whereas maybe a notification pops up or you see on Facebook like, oh, there's this new trailer, and you kind of half watch it on your phone, you may not be as excited or affected by that trailer as you would be if your initial the first time you see it
Right.
is like in the theater.
I think it also lends itself to creating that event-like atmosphere and excitement for some of these pictures that just really help the theater. So what you're telling consumers is that this is an event. This is an event you'll only see in the theater. This is the little preview you get in the theater. Because I
Exactly.
remember back in the day there were just times you never saw trailers even on TV. Like they were just on the previews. You never really saw them because you maybe didn't watch the certain channel that they would have been on. And we even used to not get as many trailers here in the office, and we used to get them on VHS tapes.
Trailer screeners.
We had a huge TV, a VHS player,
Yeah.
and boop, and then you would get 2 or 3 trailers on a VHS from just that company.
Right.
That's awesome.
So, it's weird. It feels very nostalgic going back to that kind of.
I doubt it'll become the new norm, but I would like to see it expand and be adopted by other studios. You may, for bigger event movies at least.
My only concern is because you didn't seem as excited about the Birds of Prey. I don't know if the trailer
The trailer's like 20 seconds long.
Right. I don't know if it did what it was supposed to do. I think if you're going to tease
it needs to be like a full-on trailer.
only seen in theaters, it needs to be that, and it needs to have like a scene or a clip of the movie, and then not have it anywhere else.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. That's a good point.
I feel like you just need to give
this is something
consumers
that I
more.
feel like would play before like a YouTube video.
Yeah.
It's just so short, and before you really know what's going on, it's kind of already over.
Right. No, they need to give them something to sit there and feel like they got something special out of it in 20 seconds.
At the same time, though,
enough.
it could cause more anticipation, I think, because people don't have a clue what it is. So
yeah,
then
but
they're
not
like
if it's that
trying
minimal.
to find.
Yeah, but you can't make it like.
Like I know you like the Tenet thing, but me and
I know. I really
everyone
like
in
it.
the theater after the Tenet trailer, and that's even more minimal than this Birds of Prey.
Oh,
thing.
for sure.
After it's over, people are just kind of like, I mean, okay, what was that?
Sure.
You didn't leave any by making it so short. You didn't leave anything memorable.
Well, so
for
not
me
only
to
is
be
it
like,
so you
oh,
can have
yeah.
memorable short little teasers, but you gotta show stuff that's gonna stick with you. There's
Yeah.
nothing memorable about seeing a dude look at a bullet hole.
I loved it, but no, you do make a good point.
Do you love it because it was good in of itself, or just the anticipation of another Christopher Nolan film?
Oh,
and
for
it's
sure.
Like,
It's for sure my own anticipation. It totally is.
And the 20 seconds validates that anticipation.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yes, this is a real thing.
Here it is.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
seeing it.
totally what it is.
And it's got
it's
this
my
guy.
own. It's
Yeah,
my own.
nobody in the
bias,
theater was at all impressed. In fact, I would say most of them were just either confused or kind of just like, who's Christopher Nolan? Why should I care?
So in
Oh.
the Harley Quinn Birds of Prey, Joker's not going to be in that, correct?
I hope we never see that.
I don't
Jared Leto
believe he
Joker
I like
is.
Jared
I've not
Leto
heard
Joker.
anything about Leto being in this movie.
Is he?
And he's shooting that Morbius Sony
Oh,
movie
yeah.
right now, so I don't think he was a part of their shooting schedule.
Okay. I was going to say, if there was something like that, where even if he was in the movie for like 10 seconds at the end,
Actually, that would probably
would've
blow the
been-
doors open.
that
on
would have been
people
a
checking
really,
that out.
awesome teaser.
That is a good
No,
point.
I hate it. I hate the idea.
I love.
Whether you
I
hate it or
liked his
not,
Joker. I don't know why I'm in the minority on this. I thought it
because
was
he's
good for
Oh,
awful. Just look at him. I'm looking at his pop vinyl right now.
liked
He's
it.
He
right
has
behind me. I
damage
forgot about
tattooed
that.
on his forehead.
Yeah.
Joker's not this blunt. Look how edgy I am.
I will admit that
I
one
feel like-
tattoo is a bit on the nose.
Yeah.
Any of them.
I didn't
are.
care. I was fine with it.
I think
whatever.
that Joker works for that Harley Quinn. And I
That
don't
Joker
see him
works for the
as-
terrible movie that is Suicide Squad, I guess.
Well,
But I wouldn't
Not
want that
wrong.
Joker in this new Joker movie coming up. It works for that kind of poppy Harley Quinn.
I will say though, like the one good thing I will say about the Jared Leto Joker is the fact that it's a nice palate cleanser for in between.
That's
That's a good point.
So if anything,
let's
we
give
should
people
give
a terrible
Leto
Joker
props
that
for
everybody
giving us.
hates, so that when Joaquin Phoenix comes out, he's not being compared to Heath
Could've-
Ledger.
could've
It's
been their
going, oh,
plan
he's
all
so much
along.
better than Jared
Could
Leto.
have been their plan all along. I'm telling you.
It's genius.
It's too genius for
Hire
that
me,
to be their
Warners.
plan.
Hire me, Warners.
Well, it worked out.
Anyway, but I don't know. I have nothing else to add on.
Yeah, no, we've only got a couple things left.
Sure, let's keep going.
We'll blow through this one because there's really not a whole lot to say.
Except our sheer surprise.
Yeah, apparently Tomb Raider was big enough
With
to get a
Alicia
sequel.
Vikander.
Yes.
Tomb Raider.
Apparently Tomb Raider 2 is going to be a thing, and it's switching studios. The first one was Warner Bros. I think this one's Lionsgate or something. Or no, United Artists.
I think it's United Artists.
releasing. But the interesting thing is, Kyle's much more familiar with him than I am, but the director is Ben Wheatley, who's kind of, before this, was a pretty well-respected director.
He's well respected. I don't think he's well known. The last thing I saw of his was Free Fire from A24. Actually, that was
He's not really a big blockbuster guy. He's never really made a big...
but he's good with action though. He's good with action and characters as well. Those were the two big takeaways I had of his. And I liked last year's Tomb Raider, but it wasn't anything special, nothing memorable about it. Everything was handled fine, but it just doesn't leave an impact. I'm hoping with him directing the sequel, it kind of gives it a facelift and a boost to where it will become at least kind of memorable.
From that last Tomb Raider, I never saw the actual movie, but I just remember the trailers were just her hitting things with her chest and being like, in the trailer. Like, I don't know
why.
With
the Vikander one?
Yeah, it was so annoying.
I'll have to.
Sweaty people grunting. Makes
It was
I
her.
don't
It was
remember
like
that at
her
all. I'll have
lady
to look
grunt.
back.
I remember her like jumping and catching a swinging vine or something.
Yeah, she did that.
She jumped and caught the vine, and then she jumped and with her hands tied and hit the plane, and it was like, I thought that was so annoying. And then I noticed she does that a lot in the video game, and I'm like, why is this a thing with this character?
Pretty much any video game, like if you take away all
gotta
the other sounds
emphasize.
except for what the player character is making, it's gonna be a lot of like,
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've ever played a Zelda game in your life and you just only pay attention to Link, it's like, yeah.
I've never played Zelda.
Take those sounds out of context, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, all people do. So yeah, Tomb Raider 2, that's a thing.
Well, it's just funny. I remember when I got interviewed for here, like you guys were asking me what movie I saw recently, and it was Free Fire
Yeah.
that I saw. So I answered that, and you guys were like, "Wow, no one's seen that." So
When I was being
and I was like,
interviewed,
"Why
they're
not?
like-
It was so good."
when I was being interviewed, they're like, "What kind of movies are you excited for?" I was like, "Well, I like a lot of the A24 movies," and they're both like, "Oh, one of these guys."
We definitely asked you what the last movie you saw was. You'd be surprised how many people apply for this position
And they're
here,
probably like,
and they've
I
not
don't-
seen a
I don't
movie.
know.
Aladdin, maybe?
and they could not tell me what the last movie they saw was, and I'm like,
It did take me a second. I blanked for a second, but I was like, "Wait, I know I saw."
Yeah, I was
something
like, I saw
recently, and it was
Dunkirk like
Free
3
Fire.
days ago.
Yeah, right. It was probably around that time too. Anyway, that just made me remember that, and I was like, memories.
oh,
But yeah, I like this director being on it. Good for him.
Yeah.
And that's all there is to it.
So we only got one thing left. This is all Cody's things. I don't really
Yeah.
know what this is.
so next
Take it away,
week,
Cody.
I'm gonna be in Spokane, Washington, at the Rocky Mountain NATO Regional Convention. So if you're in the area, you should stop by. It's at the Davenport Hotel, which is this beautiful old historic hotel in downtown Spokane.
Nice.
And it's just these regional conventions are really nice for local theater owners and operators to be able to come check out the trade show, see what's new in seating and projection equipment and all that. And, they're going to screen Abominable there. So we'll get to see that.
nice.
They're going to have another screening from a smaller distributor, Vetflix. So, which does military themed movies, so we'll see something from them. They'll give presentations by the exhibitor relations departments that are going. I believe that Sony, Lionsgate, Universal, and Warner's will be there
Cool.
representing, so that'll be awesome. And you'll get to go shake the hands of your exhibitor relations contacts, which is always really nice. And they're the contacts for that region, so those are the people that you actually do want to contact.
That face-to-face
Yeah,
meeting is important.
if you want to have an in-theater promotion, definitely these are the people to get a hold of. So
Awesome.
it's for the Rocky Mountain region, but I definitely really highly suggest they are a lot better money-wise, a lot more affordable than, say, like the big convention, the CinemaCon one in Vegas. So if you can't always make Vegas, definitely these are good alternatives to that. So
Yeah, that sounds super helpful.
and I'll be there, so you can come find me
All week?
all week.
Wonderful.
It's Monday through Thursday, and the trade show is just open for a couple hours in the afternoon, and then they do really good with meet and greets, and they plan a lot of little events where everybody can get together and have drinks. So my kind of thing.
They could meet
Wonderful.
the Off the Break podcast host herself in person.
Cody Cruz.
I think that's a big deal.
Yeah. So I would be glad to meet anybody if they want to come. It'll be really fun.
Yeah, that sounds like it'll be a blast.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And super helpful too. So
Oh, definitely. I think it's good to just get together and have community. I feel like sometimes theater owners just feel like they're in this, and this industry is
By
so
themselves.
different from anything else. People often come from different backgrounds in retail or finance or whatever your other background can be, and they come into this industry and they're like,
what is this?
Why are we doing it this way?
Yeah.
And
Where's the rhyme and reason?
Yeah, there is no rhyme and reason. And so you just got to get in the flow of things, and it just helps, I think, to get together with other theater
Just
owners.
lift each other up, navigate it together.
Yeah, just
That's
know
a
you're
good way
not
of
alone.
looking at it. That is a good way of looking at it. I like that.
So uplifting.
Oh, but yeah, Rocky Mountain. I like going to that. I'm going to try to start hitting more of these regional conventions because we actually have clients all over the U.S. So I should probably be going to every one of them. Cool. But I always hit up the Rocky Mountain one. It's usually very close. And Spokane is great, and the Davenport is one of my favorite hotels ever. So I'm super excited to go.
Awesome.
Cool.
We can't wait to hear how it all went.
I'm going to see if I can get back in time next week to do the podcast. I'll probably be so tired, but definitely want to follow up with you guys about it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
We'd love to have you.
Yeah, so that's where I'm going to be next week.
Cool. Well,
Perfect.
next weekend, I guess.
Yeah.
Is there anything new, like big next weekend? The
Hustlers
Goldfinch. I
and
know the
the
Goldfinch.
Yeah, but
which
this
might be a
weekend
big
is all
awards
about
movie.
It Chapter 2.
Yeah, it's probably going to make all kinds of bank.
Yep.
It's a good movie.
Do you think
It's a long one, but I think most people will like it, especially if you're fans of the first one.
You'll be satisfied.
There's a lot more to like than to not like.
Right. Do you think it'll make more in its opening than it did?
I don't think it can match the first one. I think its running time and just
Did it make 100 mil opening?
the first one.
Yeah, opening night anyway.
Opening night. You mean opening weekend?
Maybe opening weekend. I'm trying to
Yeah,
think.
it made over 100 opening weekend. I think it's still the
Yeah, not opening night.
It's still the record holder for the highest grossing horror
Right.
film of all time. I think it's like 110 or something.
Yeah, I guess you're right then. It would be pretty hard for it to exceed that.
I mean, regardless, It Chapter 2 is going to make a bunch of money.
For
which
sure.
is good because we've just had a few weekends of just kind of holdovers.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of mellow times at the box office, but
Yeah.
leave it to Pennywise and the Losers Club to wake it up.
I mean, Cody said this. She might have said this already in the podcast. I don't remember, but Thursday Night Alone, it made 10 mil so far,
Yeah, 10.5.
which that's a pretty good number. You want to be there. Be more like It Chapter 2.
Yeah.
But I mean, for this weekend, that it's pretty much going to be that.
I think it
Lion
made,
King and Hobbs and Shaw will do well
Yeah.
too, but
I think the first week of it made like 123.
Yeah.
I think this one will be close, but I don't know if it'll do as much. There was a weird anticipation and like
Well, everyone's
kind of swelling for
yeah,
it.
there was
even
for
people
sure.
who hadn't heard of it. There's always just kind of like this meme where clowns are scary. You know,
Yeah.
everybody, whether or not they actually are or not, likes to talk about how terrifying clowns are. And then there's a huge fan base for the book. The book is one of the most famous Stephen King books of all time.
Yeah.
You know, the first one had a lot of things going for it. And the second one, you know, I feel like there's a lot of people who actually don't know that there's a second half to the book where they're all grown-ups. Some people think that this is just like
Right.
a sequel, you know, instead
Yeah,
of a
they
part
think.
two.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
I think there is some people there, so that will
The
get
normies.
the normies exactly.
But no, I think it'll still do a lot, and
For
most
sure.
people will be highly satisfied.
Yeah, Warner's will be happy too.
Oh, Warner's needs it. They've had not their films have been bad. They just haven't been connecting.
Yeah, not the
Yeah, they haven't-
best year.
They haven't
No.
been selling as good as they hope so.
I think they
Shazam, Godzilla,
I think Shazam was good, but after that, Godzilla was a little weak.
Detective Pikachu.
That was pretty good, but not. It wasn't ever gonna
Wasn't
That was
be
kind of
the
their
huge.
trend, you know. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, that
They
kind
do
of
all
breaking
right,
even.
but nothing. I mean, I think they positioned Godzilla to be their big summer tentpole,
Yeah.
and it didn't.
Yeah,
It was never gonna.
And
be
then
they're
they
going to be
had
banking on
a few little ones.
Joker and this one for sure.
This Joker, yeah. What else do they got at the end of the year?
They got Doctor Sleep. The trailer for that is supposed to be coming out Sunday, I
Ooh.
believe.
Oh yeah.
That
I saw
Doctor
quite a-
Sleep. That's all I'm.
They
thinking
brought
of now for
quite a
its terms
bit
of
of
big
footage
movies.
for that at CinemaCon, and
Mhm.
it looks so good.
Yeah, I can't wait for that one. That
Love
one's
me
gonna
some
be
more
really
Ewan.
good. Do we want to talk about next week's movies, Hustlers and Goldfinch, or should we wait for next week?
I mean, there's
Yeah.
not much to say right now.
Mhm.
Goldfinch could potentially go on to be a kind of an awards contender.
Yeah, I hear that
pretty
Goldfinch
early, but
is
yeah.
not as depressing as the trailers made it out to be. That
I
Yeah.
don't
it's
think it
still-
looked that depressing, but it definitely looked sad.
the
but
first one was a major
the
bummer.
the book it's based on is like a Pulitzer Prize winning. It's a big deal.
Yeah,
People
it is a big
love
deal.
the book. So
Yeah,
if the movie can do it justice, I feel it it has a chance of being a big shot.
There's
contender.
a lot of buzz, at least on the internet, for Hustlers. Like for an XCX movie, like it's actually pretty impressive how much
Did you
buzz
spell
from
out
audiences.
SEX or STX?
STX. Did I say
I
STX?
heard STX.
Okay.
Did you?
Yeah.
I heard
For a
the other thing. It's like you spelled that
That was
out.
funny.
Dildo conversation all over again.
I'm
was
coming
pretty
off
funny.
as such like this prude person, but we
Did
don't
you
talk
say
like that on this
sex
air.
on our podcast?
Thanks, Kyle. And you spelled it out. People aren't gonna know what you said.
Because I knew you weren't gonna like it, Cody. I'm
Hustlers
sorry.
is an SEX movie.
There's lots of SEX.
Well, I don't know how much there'll be in Hustlers, but there is actually a lot more hype for people to see this, and I think people are
'Cause it's
realizing.
Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah, she's not a seller of movies
Constant
these days.
Woo, which I wish was Ali Wong. I want to see it more if it was her.
Brutal.
I don't know really who they are, but I'm
Constant
probably not going to
Woo.
see
She was
it.
from Fresh Off the Boat
And Crazy Rich
Crazy
Asians. I
Rich
do like
Asians.
her. I just
Yeah.
love Ali Wong more.
Yeah.
Well, that's in the
Okay.
future. Go see It Chapter 2.
Yeah.
It's long, but it's good. The middle is a little not the best, but it makes up for it by nailing the ending. So
And if you've been listening to this podcast, you should check us out on iTunes and leave a review. We need some reviews, people.
yeah, let us know how we're doing.
Yeah.
Give us some suggestions, ask us questions, point out some movies that, maybe you think deserve to be talked about more.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything you can think of.
And if you're in the Spokane, Washington area next week, come see me at Rocky Mountain NATO at the Davenport Hotel.
Awesome.
Wonderful. And be sure to check out our podcast not only on iTunes, but as well as silverscreeninsider.com, where you can find all the trailers that we discuss, all of the movie information for your theater needs, and all the articles that we have posted and also talked about here on the show.
I keep talking about posting articles. I will get it. Maybe Bad Boys will be my first article.
That's the one.
That's the
it
one that
wasn't
gets me.
Shaft, but it's
We'll
this
see.
one.
All right, guys.
Have a
Take
good
it
weekend.
easy.
Bye.